The world watched the rebellion against Putin's army in the shape of the Wagner Group, and it aroused new hope for the West against Putin. The West thought of it as a new hope and called it the regime change operation in Russia. To explore the actions of Wagner Group, let us introduce its origin. The Wagner Group is a paramilitary group funded by the Ministry of Defense against Ukraine. It is headed by Yevgeny Prigozhin, who is the former close friend of Vladimir Putin. The Wagner Group consisted of almost 20,000 to 50,000 fighters. The Wagner chief claimed that his forces were in control of military sites in the southern city of Rostov-on-Don. The rebellion started in the name of social class, and Yevgeny Prigozhin called Putin as the capitalist and intended to make slaughter the poor people. Al Jazeera reported about Wagner Group that its chief had been jailed due to arms robbery, and after he was released, he started recruiting children in his gang and now crossing the age of 62. The whole world shattered once. Eastern countries were praying for a rearrangement of the masses and expressing their wish that Yevgeny Prigozhin would be killed. Western diplomats started to think about providing assistance to Wagner groups against the Russian military. At that time, it looked like all the initiatives of the proxy war of Russia in Ukraine against NATO, BRICS currency, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and all Eastern deals will wind up or close to being limited. It looked that Western got inner support of the Wagner Group inside Russia when it was difficult to enter Russia by Ukraine or Western states. The queries that are raised about the role of Wagner Group are: was that a diplomatic move by the Russian president? Where is the head of Wagner Group now, and why is he safe now in spite of war crimes against Russian law? These queries require intensive and complicated elaboration, so be engaged with our video. ABC News reported on June 23, 2023 that Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner Group, claimed that there were 25,000 fighters intended to capture Moscow and President Putin and will change the regime. It was an armed rebellion inside the country and made Putin threatened. Roads were started to be destroyed, bridges were pulled down and demolished, oil reserves were fired. As a result, heavy shelling started on the group. This all action started near the captured city Rostov-on-Don, which was captured by the group. Before offensive war could start inside the country, Putin started trying to resolve the issue. He had to leave the presidential palace and had to settle in an unknown place. As Putin has allies in eastern countries and near its borders, he called the president of Belarus and asked to settle the dispute. Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko settled down the dispute and the mutiny stopped in Russia. Putin acknowledged that Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin did massive actions and fought in the Kremlin in 2014 for Russia. It is notable that the Wagner Group started a mutiny and Ramzan Kadyrov and his group of Chechen fighters came in front to support Putin against the mutiny. The Russian news agency reported 20,000 Chechens were already fighting in Ukraine on behalf of Russia. More than 40,000 fighters came to save Putin against mutiny. Yes, it is Putin who did not put fire inside his country and the things were restored according to Russian choice. Let's analyze the situation. According to the report of BBC on June 25, 2023, that Wagner Group is also operating in African countries, including Libya and Mali, on behalf of Russia. So it was difficult to ban or quit the operations of Wagner Group because it could damage the Russian interests outside Russia. The New York Times calls Wagner Group a money-making machine. This is because it received $250 million from 2018 to 2021 by the Russian president. This group had been in hot favor during the reign of 23 years of Putin. On the other hand, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty claims with respect to Russian TV reports that $10 billion have been received by the Wagner Group from Russian authorities. Chuang Jing and Rita Chung reported in Radio Free Asia on July 5, 2023 that CIA gave $6.2 billion to Wagner Group to make the mutiny successful. The reporters cited the Los Angeles Times reports. Experts believe that this mutiny was plotted by the Russian president to divert the attention of Western countries and change their minds. Russian assets have been frozen in Western banks and more than $300 billion are frozen. The Guardian newspaper reported that the Western leaders claimed that the UK would freeze the assets of Kremlin and Russian central banks and would pay this amount to the people and countries affected by the Russian invasion. But this could be a false flag action as Russia has the power of gas and energy sources which are supplied to Europe. On the other hand, experts believe that the Russian president played a trap to get back the amount, and the reports tell that $6.8 billion have been received to the Wagner Group. At the same time, it is notable that the Wagner Group is still in Russia. BBC confirmed the news that the chief of Wagner Group and its troops are in Russia and no action has been taken on them. Porton Day confirms in reporting by BBC that 6 of the helicopters were destroyed by Wagner Group, but the loss of human is also questionable. Many geopolitical experts state that the CIA tried to change the Russian regime with hard actions of power. This is similar as the regime change operation was undertaken by CIA with soft power on April 10, 2022 in Pakistan and became successful. But this time, it was Russia and things were different and more difficult than Pakistan. Brad Howard reported in CNBC News on July 15, 2023 that this incident could have damaged Putin politically, but against the power of Russia, Wagner was unable to stand. On the other hand, the foreign operations could have been damaged. If the action of Wagner Group is considered as true, then it is easy to claim that CIA became successful to some extent. And if it is a trap of Putin, then the supremacy of Putin in its region cannot be neglected. It is very notable that all Eastern politics such as BRICS currency, One Belt, One Road of China, Saudi Islamic Army, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, rebirth of US operations in Afghanistan, and global security initiative of the Chinese president could be at risk. All the global games could be changed, including Hong Kong and North and South Korea if the mutiny of the Wagner Group could be successful. The decision of Putin let his foreign operations be functional and secure the Eastern world by its agreement action. It looked like the Eastern world was on a sword, be slaughtered or to be slaughtered by the hands of global handlers. But on the basis of successful operation of Wagner Group, but it failed.